superpowers. Normally when you hear that term, you think about something like teleportation or invisibility, or something else that defies reality just like you see in the movies.
Hey, I can fly!
He can fly! He can fly!
Now all these superpowers are pretty cool, but unfortunately, none of them are achievable by normal human beings. Well, not yet at least. Fortunately for you, today I'm going to be discussing some life skills that can basically be used as superpowers in making your life better and helping you achieve your goals. So stick around and enjoy! Now in this video, I'm going to be talking about 3 skills that are basically more realistic versions of actual superpowers. The first one is Foresight. Foresight is basically a dumbed down, more realistic version of being able to see the future. Kind of like what Doctor Strange did in Infinity War. Except he was seeing multiple possible futures that could actually happen in detail using the time stone, which isn't really possible for the average person. Now, foresight is important because if you have it, you can make better choices to achieve an outcome that benefits you. Now I'm going to give you some examples of situations where foresight would be extremely useful. So you know a couple months ago when Bitcoin hit 10K and everyone was getting interested in Bitcoin a little bit too late? I wish I had gotten those Bitcoins a long time ago. If I did, I would be very rich right now. See, if they had foresight into how valuable Bitcoin might be someday, they wouldn't be saying these things because they would have bought Bitcoin when it was $10 and they would be rich right now. Arey, shut up. Here's another example. If I knew that YouTube could be a viable career someday, I would have started this years ago. I mean, I love this. YouTube is awesome. Just imagine if I had started before the adpocalypse and before the YouTube algorithm went insane, I could be a YouTube god right now. A god. Well, maybe not a god, but definitely not so underrated. Subscribe and share, okay? Just do it. But yeah, you know what they say. Hindsight is 20/20 and you can only connect the dots looking backwards. But if you can predict where the dots are gonna be in the future, you can cheat. Anyway, foresight is something that I could spend a whole video talking about, but now I'm gonna move on to the second superpower, and that is the power of awareness and perception. Now, awareness is basically like being one with the Force. Well, kind of. You know how the Jedi and the Sith can be like, I sense a disturbance in the Force.
As if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
That is kind of like what I'm talking about with awareness. When you are aware of your surroundings and know what's going on in the world, you are better informed to make good decisions. Similarly, if you are aware of a person's behavior and can perceive their intentions, you can save yourself from a lot of trouble. Like if only I could see that my ex-girlfriend was a clinical narcissist. My heart may not have been crushed like a tin can. Though, without her breaking my heart, this channel might not exist. So I guess it wasn't all for nothing. So subscribe, okay? Make my suffering worthwhile. Do it. Even Batman got a lesson in awareness.
You haven't beaten me. You have sacrificed sure footing for a killing stroke. Always mind your surroundings.
Though his awareness was used for combat, which is kind of different. But yeah, there are many types of awareness. Spatial, emotional, mimical, and so on. But I'm just gonna leave it at that. Now, the third superpower that I want to talk about is also related to Star Wars because, you know, the Force is just awesome, okay? But yeah, the third ability is the ability to influence people. Basically, it's a dumbed down, more realistic version of the Jedi mind trick. If you can influence people and get them to favor you and get them to do whatever you want, you're gonna have a good life. And I promise, I'm not a sociopath, okay? It just turns out that realistic superpowers are things that sociopaths would be interested in. Anyway, the Jedi mind trick and mind control were always my favorite superpower. But there's a caveat here. If every single time you told someone to do something and they just did it, life would get kind of boring and feel a little bit unsatisfying, right? If you know that something is gonna work out the way that you want it to, then there is nothing to anticipate. Because in that case, there is no dopamine rush, meaning there won't be a feeling of accomplishment, which can get depressing after a while. It's like if every time I asked you to subscribe to me, I had a 100% chance of success, then I wouldn't really need to come up with new creative ways to ask you to subscribe to me, right? And also, if there was a 100% chance that you would listen to me, it wouldn't have as much meaning when you did subscribe. Because that's what you're doing right now, right? Come on guys, I need that dopamine rush. Please just like, subscribe, and share, okay? Do it. Though it would be really handy to have a 100% influence over people, especially if you needed a job. Imagine this scenario. Hey, hello there! You want to give me this job. I want to give you this job. And I get a raise too. And you will get a raise too. But yeah, just like with the other two superpowers, there is a lot that can be said about the ability to influence people. But that's all I'm gonna say for now.
Oh, man.
Now that we've covered the 3 superpowers as promised, I realize that most of those skills are mental abilities, and none of them have been purely physical, like the stereotypical super strength and super speed. Because I believe that your brain is the most valuable thing that you possess.
Knowledge.
But I'ma do you a solid because I'm a nice guy, and I'm gonna give you some bonus knowledge. Okay, so here it is. The most important real life physical superpower is good health. This is because if you aren't in good health, everything will kind of eventually fall apart because you know, death happens. Which is why you need to take care of your body by exercising, eating well, not getting stabbed, and you know, just being pretty safe and healthy in general.
That's so boring.
Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, consider supporting me on Patreon like these lovely people. Unfortunately, I can't just Jedi mind trick you into doing this, so maybe you'll just do it because you like me. You will support me on Patreon. But yeah, if you can't support me on Patreon, maybe just share one of my videos with 10 of your friends, like one of these. You will share it with your friends. Otherwise, as always, never share your password.